Once we had a horse. For Carol. When we were quite small, we lived on a ranch. There were no neighbors nearby, and we had no little wagons or tricycles to play with. But one day, a horse was led into the yard and turned loose. He was a gentle cow pony, too old to work on the range. For the summer, his job would be to keep the grass crop down around the house. At first, we simply stood about, admiring the old horse from a respectful distance. But soon, we became bolder and discovered that he would eat bits of jelly, bread, cookies, and other things from our hands. Then one morning, a cowboy lifted us onto the horse's back and left us there when he rode off to start his day's work on the range. For a bit, the old horse simply stood still while we clung tightly to his mane and to each other. The ground seemed awfully far away. Then just when we were beginning to enjoy the feeling of being horsemen, he took a few steps forward and we both fell off. The high grass cushioned our fall, so we were not hurt. For the rest of the day we sat on the porch and talked about the morning's adventure. Every morning after that, we followed the cowboys around, clamoring until we were lifted up onto the horse's back. However, we quickly found out that learning to ride a horse is much more difficult than it looks. But with practice, our balance improved, and soon we began to look around and enjoy the view from that high perch. Some days we rode all the way down to the watering trough before we fell off. But fall off we always did sooner or later. Then we either had to wait for someone to come and put us back up or find a way to help ourselves. We tried climbing up the old horse's side, but this proved to be very difficult. So we tried piling things up to make a high mountain block. But that wasn't always successful either. Sometimes the old horse would let us straddle his neck as he grazed. Then when he raised his head, we simply slid down his neck and onto his back. If one thing didn't work, we tried another. Sometimes we would coax him up close to the fence or the hitch rail with a pan of oats. But we had no way to keep him from leaving before we were ready. We spent days trying to get an old catch rope around his neck so we could lead him to the fence whenever we wanted. We had watched the cowboys roping their horses in the morning, so we knew how it was done. But somehow or other, the old horse always managed to escape our noose. However, we had plenty of time, and sooner or later we always found a way to get on his back. As the summer went on, we became better riders and often carried switches to hurry the old horse along. Sometimes he would oblige us by trotting in fine style for a little way, but when he felt he'd hurried enough, he'd simply stop short and we would slide off over his head. We played with that old horse all summer, and he seemed to enjoy it as much as we did. When we were called into the house for meals, he followed us to the porch steps and then stayed close by until we came back out. But by the time winter came, the grass was gone from the yard, and when the first snow began to fall, he was taken to winter pasture.